Fishing a new spot today. Never fished here before. Be interesting to see how it goes. Joined a couple of mates. I'm just having a quick flick around before they hit the water. Gonna throw a few soft plastics around, maybe a few hard bodies. See what I can find. It's always interesting exploring some new water. You don't have the advantage of knowing where all of the structure and the depth changes are, knowing the fish's habits in the area. So you have to probably reduce your expectations, go back to basics. Flathead are going to be the primary target, so I'm just casting into the shallow water, sitting in deeper water, hopping the lure back towards me, hoping that there's a flathead sitting on that depth change, and then it's going to try and intercept my lure. Got one of the new ZMan lures on at the moment, one of the baby goats. Haven't really used it in the salt as yet, so I've seen it used with great success, so I'm keen to give it a go myself. It's got lovely little twin tails with seductive little beat that will be kicking away both when I work it and then back on the drop again. So I'm just flicking it up and then letting it drop, waiting for it to hit the bottom, and then doing the same again. And there's that tail beat that you can see through the water there. Absolutely no reason why a hungry flathead won't engulf that. I'm looking forward to seeing it happen. Well, it's taken a fair few casts, but we've finally got some action. Little flathead. It's taken a liking to the baby goats. This is the 1/4 TT jig heads matched up to the baby goats with a little bit of Procure mullet. Just casting up into that shallows there. There's a bit of a drop off and I'm sitting in about 2 meters of water. So just a bit of patience, working my way through the visible structure. And that's the rewards you get. You don't necessarily have to be familiar with the location, you just have to understand how to read it. So the sounder helps so that I can see that I'm in 2 meters of water here, but you can also use your eyes and visually read the situation. You know that there's shallow water over there, deeper water here, cast into the shallow, bring it into deep. And that's what you get. Not a huge fish, but a good start nonetheless. And that's the baby goats there, right in the top of the nose. Good little flatty. So there we go, a baby goat's flathead. It's done the job on him. See you, mate.
I like the whiting.
Yeah, I told you to catch it. Good looking lure. Where is it?
It's right down his gate.
Yep. Well, that's been a long time coming. Lots of casts have gone into that one. Now, unless this is a stingray, that's a decent fish. There's a possibility that it is a stingray. It's doing a lot of... No, it's a decent lizard. That's good. Just don't want to rush it now. We're in relatively shallow water, so there's no chance of him finding structure and busting me off, so I just need to take time. Got 15-pound leader. Just want to keep the pressure on him. Let the reel do the work. Let the rod absorb any runs, shakes of the head. Take my time until he's ready to come to the net. This was the 4-inch diesels in the new beer run colour. Nice natural colour with gold in it for nice clear conditions. Want to keep his head in the water. Just guide him into the net. And there he is. He's ours. Let's have a look at him. There it is. That's that beer run colour. Done the damage. And that, 1/4 TT jig head. And that is a good flathead. Happy with that. Only in 1/2 metre of water. Flicking around. 15-pound leader. Did a good job there. Protected. Nice fish. Let's get him unhooked and on his way. There we go. He's been out of the water for a while just while I was getting that hook out, so we'll give him a nice swim. He's already got all of his fins up and he looks pretty happy, so I don't think it'll take him long to get his wind back. No, he's clamping down on my thumb. He already looks like he's ready to swim, so we'll say, see you mate. Off he goes. He's going to sulk underneath the kayak and he's off into the water. Good stuff. Oh, I think that's a think that's a stingray.
Is that a flathead?
Oh, I hope it is, but it's running like a stingray. Got none of the head shakes of a flatty, so I'm thinking stingray, but I've been surprised before.
Yeah.
I'm saying stingray.
Yeah, hook stingray. I hope not.
No, it's a flatty.
Really?
Yep.
Donkey?
Oh, not too dissimilar. Oh!
Oh no!
Not too dissimilar to the one I had on just before.
Paddled over that spot.
Yep. He must have had it fairly deep. There was some Must have been like wedged in his mouth, because there's some decent scuffs on that leader. Geez, he went hard. Just stop my one hand from shaking. That's it. Thanks, mate. So what we've got here is like a little back eddy out of the current that's created like a little disturbed area of water. One of my favourite little spots to target when I find these. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time here casting through this area, see if I can turn up some action. It's not deep, it's still only 0.6 to a metre, but at low tide, whereas the tide's going out, you don't need a lot of water. There we go, got it. Just looking for that water, thinking about where you're fishing. That's what does it. A little bit of patience, and that does it. Another decent sized flathead. Once again, on the new beer run. Nice natural colour. This one's on the 1/4 still. Haven't got a lot of run, a little bit of current today. Another good sized flathead. And I felt the tap as that lure was sinking back to the bottom, and there we go. Another good sized flathead. Just thinking about your fishing. Not just line casting, thinking about where you're going to put your lure, thinking about where the fish might be sitting, and presenting it. And more often than not, you'll find that the fish come through and play the game. Hold still, mate, hold still. Just want to show you to the people in YouTube. There he is. What a lovely fish. Look at those fins. Lovely, beautiful camouflage. And there's that 4-inch diesels beer run. TT jiglocks, TT headlocks jig head right through the bottom of the jaw. Beautiful flathead. That was a little 2 to 4 kilo Akuma Ceros, and that's the Inspira 20. I use that for my bassing as well, so it's a very good reel for a lot of applications, good size. And speaking of good size, it's a great size flathead. Okay, it's time to get him unhooked, just like that, and on your way, mate. In a puff of dust, he's off and racing. And we've got our ZMan ready to catch many more fish. Okay, so we've just let that flathead go and we're concentrating our casting back in this little whirlpool type back eddy, seeing if he's got any friends. Casting into the current and letting it bring the bait back, or in this instance the lure, waiting for it to hit the bottom and then just hopping it back towards me, watching the line, feeling it through the rod, feeling it to see when the lure, the jig head hits the bottom, and also that dunk that shows that a flathead has the lure in its mouth, and it's time to set those hooks. So it's a nice bright clear day today, not much in the way of overcast conditions, just a few high clouds, so got nice bright natural conditions. So I've tried a number of colours today, but most of them have been fairly natural, in line with that type of condition. Oh, there's another one, and as we can see, they're liking the natural. Well, I've hooked him fairly close to the kayak, and he's decided that he wants to have a deep run. So I'm not bullying him, I'm just letting him have that run. Because he's so close to the kayak, if I tried to just wind him on, my leader's almost at my rod tip already. So if I just wind madly, I've got nowhere to go. So I'm just letting him take a bit of line. He feels like a decent fish, he's got some weight to him. So I'm not going to rush it, I'm just going to let the rod do a little bit of shock absorption here. As much as the adrenaline's buzzing, and I've already lost one fish today beside the kayak, I don't want to rush it. I just want to take my time, let the fish wear itself out a little bit so that I can bring it to the net. It's a decent flathead. I can see a nice big flathead tail waving around there in the current. So he basically hit the lure right beside the kayak. My leader knot was almost at the rod tip, so now I'm just taking my time. I've backed the drag off just by one click, I think, just to allow it a little bit of time, just using my patience and my equipment to fight it. Once again, I just did that by positioning myself in a spot where I thought that the fish would naturally be. And there we go, another good flathead in the net, and that makes me a very happy rocket. He's a heavy fish, a very heavy fish. Looking in the light here, and there's that beer run sticking right out of the corner of the jaw. Another one falls to the ZMan today. Oh, she's still got plenty of fight in her because of that take that was so close to the kayak. Oh, and there she goes. Probably not the most elegant release, and I would have liked to have given you a better look at it, but all things said and done, she was in the net. I'm happy with that.